All right, so, it is 6:31, so I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Yeah, actually, I meant to ask about that, and I did not ask about it. All right, first,
Anybody else there?
no, I mean, what?
I mean, out there.
Oh, out there. Oh, but how do you do that? You have to make sure.
They should appear automatically, I would think, off to the side here.
Yeah, attendee 0. Okay. We're good, but thank you. In
That's
case
the
somebody,
intent of
so
my
Leanne
computer.
said she was gonna come unless she decided against it, but was double checking to make sure we were having a meeting. So would anybody like to move to approve the minutes of June 1st, 2023?
So moved.
Okay, okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes of June 1st, 2023. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. That's easy. All right. All right, communication.
I didn't write anything, but I would
Okay.
like to communicate a thought.
Okay.
Roscoe Merritt, 19 Birmingham Court, Quantic Bridge, and I am a representative of District 1 for the RTM.
Okay.
And I do have a concern and an interest in Quantic Bridge. And some of my thoughts are, after seeing that fence go up,
Uh-huh.
I'm saying that before you get involved in anything elaborate, maybe you could go to the Parks and Rec and have somebody go through that whole line with you and see just how many plantings were put in there over the past year. Because it appears that somebody has put different foliage in there over a past number of years and then never took care of it. In reference to those pine trees in front of that fence, those didn't just miraculously grow there. And the guy trimmed them out fairly decently. So you might want to consider that before you spend any money. I know that funds for this group is very hard.
Yeah.
And I would even go into the town hall. I don't know who would have notes on whatever was planted there over the past. There may be no record at this point in time. You might get a horticulturist to pick out something that may not be appropriate to that area that somebody put in there, and therein you've got a trail. You started a trail of,
As you come down and you're looking at it straight away,
know,
are you talking about to the left and down?
where the gentleman just put a fence around his property,
Well,
right in
you know,
there,
we have all-
behind your sign.
we did all of those plantings, you know.
I know, no, not that. Behind that, there's a stand of coniferas there that he's gone and trimmed out himself.
Yeah.
And he raked all the leaves away, and there's nothing else there, which tells me somebody put in a row of coniferas down that pathway at one time.
Yeah. Well,
It's possible,
to tell you the truth, we probably aren't gonna be,
yeah.
that.
Well, the
What
other,
I'm hoping
Yeah.
is that when it looks so nice and
Yeah.
it's such a lovely backdrop, welcome, then you want to take a
but
seat.
that fence, by the way, is, I talked to the owner of the property,
Uh-huh,
that fence, and he bought it in Rhode Island, thinking he was gonna get a better deal.
uh-huh.
It's $81 a panel for 6x8. It's not $15 a panel anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
that happened in the last 2 years.
yeah, yeah.
It went to 72, now it's up to 81, and that's not the original stockade like my neighbor has along his property line.
Yeah,
That's something else.
yeah, it's
it's
been
black
it's a nice looking,
But- Yeah, in a way, but that stuff falls apart after a while.
well, yeah, it's not.
Yeah, if-
So don't we?
No, if you don't clean out underneath it, the wind will actually blow it over. That's why they have a different type of fence for that. They put a board here and they move over the width of the board, but then they turn the other one like that and the wind goes through it.
Yeah.
So
Did they
the
do that on this
stockade, you
one,
have to
or-
clean out underneath it.
Right, the new fence, yeah.
But I don't, what I'm hoping is that people will see that, see how nice it looks, and maybe say, oh, wow,
Well,
we could do that
you
here.
have to remember what's coming down the road, and it has to be maintained to a certain look too. So that's
Right.
what we'll anticipate down the road, is what comes after the installation.
Right, exactly, which, we even found just the one sign that was installed by the town. I mean, that lasted 8 months before somebody took it out.
Well,
So,
that's why, in the highway garage, that's why we always called it an accident.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen anytime.
Yeah,
You just have to deal with it.
yeah, exactly.
So we will send a thank you note like we did to the, I think we sent like 3. Thank you for beautifying your property. I have copies of them.
Did we already give 3 already? Did we
No,
do
I
that?
don't think so.
Yeah.
We've given one
One.
more. I don't remember. Then,
Well, I gave one to the couple down on, across from the utilities, where they planted that little garden with the trees.
Oh,
Right.
And you were gonna give one to the woman, Jen,
Right.
No, we talked about,
we didn't vote.
Elaine brought that up, of possibly giving her a new.
Right, I don't think we ever decided.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I was going to mention Chris Bates, because I agree,
Yeah.
he did a lot of work on his property.
Yeah, he certainly did.
Mhm.
And he doesn't even have a sign up for his
No.
landscaping business, which I would think would be,
Oh, is that what he does?
yeah, he's helped us quite a bit. He donated the large tree at the top of Fort Hill, as well as a plethora and a couple of, other. Sorry, I'm doing the 63-year-old brain thing.
Is it a plethora?
No, it was only one plethora, but it was, anyway, something that the pollinators love.
Yeah.
And he also donated the beautiful pine tree at the top, which is only gonna get better and better with time. He watered it last year he was stopping by to water it, so he's very interested in the town.
So we may be ready for an article in the paper. Now we've got 3 new people. But I would write that, but I need all the info.
But, so we haven't followed through with anything yet.
No, only the
bond?
The barn.
The bond.
All right, let's put that under new business so I can stick to my agenda a little bit.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
But if we don't talk about it, it's gone.
Yeah, thank you, exactly. I'll put it down here, so it's in pen now, thank you, okay. All right, any other communications, anybody want?
I had tried to enlist Mr. Cart to come along with our artist program, and they've been pretty unresponsive, very unresponsive.
Uh-huh.
So I stopped over at Alexei von Schlippy Gallery, talked to the director over there. They'd love to get together with us and
Uh-huh.
do
Where is
some
that?
over UConn
Oh, you,
Avery,
okay,
every point.
uh-huh,
And so that's a tie-up that
okay, with
with somebody. who-
regarding sculptures. or
art
murals
of any
art,
kind,
okay,
yeah. Yeah, they'd be very interested in helping us in whatever way they can.
Okay,
So that was good.
did you have a meeting with, Mark Ferry?
I did, I have a whole report on.
Okay, all right, and which actually is under our update.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you, look at you, awesome. Anybody else? Before I only have one.
Just one afterthought was, I've spoken to the owner of the corner of Depot Road and Route 1, basically. He owns 8 pieces of property there.
But
And-
from the one with the chain link fence
Raleigh
going
Court,
on.
he owns the right-hand side of Raleigh Court going in.
Uh-huh.
And in looking over his property with him, we discovered that the brick house in there, number 32, he's probably gonna take that down. But there's a right of way from there, maybe created by the old realtor that was there, Jimmy Rispoli. And it's out to Midway Pizza. But now that he owns Midway Pizza also, the right of way really doesn't mean anything.
So he bought that, he
He
bought
bought
that,
the whole corner.
oh,
Over
okay,
$1 million, it was $884,000 for the right-hand side of Raleigh Court and Midway Pizza. And the house where the grooming parlor is,
yep,
that was originally Jimmy Rispoli's house, and it burned down and they rebuilt it. And then he also owns 2 pieces out on Depot Road at the head of Raleigh Court.
Uh-huh.
So, 1.4 million.
Hello.
And he's cleaning that up. Hey,
Are you sure?
oh, can I get you a chair?
Yes, you could, that would be awfully.
Oh,
it's you, Rocco, yeah, you can.
Well,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna be helping them.
That's okay. It's summertime. It's
The only way I know how.
living it easy, right?
again,
Yes, it is. It is.
Those foster grants.
So you spoke with this individual? Ruth?
yes,
Okay.
I actually have an invitation to his wedding, but that's beside the point.
Okay, so is he gonna do any?
He's cleaning it up as best as he
Thank
can
you.
with the time he needs
Uh-huh,
to be working through the job. So he and his girlfriend, soon to be acquired,
uh-huh.
they're cleaning it up and, little by little.
But those are all rentals, right?
I believe it's going to be rentals.
Uh-huh.
I think the brick house, for him, he might find that it's
you're out of
more
it for
advantageous to tear it down and sell the old brick. There's a good demand for that right now.
Are you going to do anything with Midway Pizza?
Probably not for right now. He needs some backing on his, from his rental to get started with what he's doing.
Uh-huh.
The grooming is going to stay there.
That's actually it's like a Mexican
Money laundering.
Right, so but then they have a brand new place. I used to take my, the dog grooming and now it's, looks like a takeout,
Oh, there's one in the back, That was the old barber shop, Jimmy Lee's barber shop.
What did I miss? What building are we talking about?
The whole corner of Depot Road and Raleigh Court, basically. One guy owns it all,
Yeah.
okay.
and I will be dining at his table on August 5th.
Okay.
Well, keep the conversation going.
Maybe they're interested in some planners in front of those.
Parking is rare in that area. You might be cautious about planters.
Yeah.
It's like over at the barn. I'm surprised that the fire marshal allowed the barn, even though I welcome it with open arms, because they pack people in there. There's no parking. They're parking at social services. And I don't know what that's going to evolve to.
Yeah, it's pretty popular up there. Well, my communication comes from Kevin Fitzgerald, who's in charge of the ARPA fund, and he is working currently on a final draft that John Burt can sign off on. So Peter would purchase the plants that will be installed at Town Hall. I did tell him we have missed the spring planting window and that we're looking now at mid to late August. However, Peter needs to know so that he can order the plants and we can get a date. So he said that should be forthcoming very soon. Okay, that was my communication.
So do you have a wish list
A wish list?
for what you want to put there?
It's designed.
Already
It's
done.
designed, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm months behind here.
That was part of the ARPA application all those months ago that, yeah, we didn't see it. Bruce worked with him and he came up with a really nice design and it was approved. Sans the irrigation.
Congratulations.
So let's hope, and, you know, working with, Pete is wonderful. He said this is just gonna be transformative here. You know, so unfortunately, when we were there, there's a fire, I don't even know, it's this weird red thing, and there's one up here at the PD, it's like, yeah. So,
And it can't be touched.
yeah, and it's like, you can't have anything within 5 feet, so that changes his design a little bit, but he was so good natured about it, he says, well, there's our garden art, because you're talking about, maybe we can have some sculpture, he's like, oh, there's our sculpture, so I'm like, well, I'm just,
Oh, it's a water attachment for the sprinkler
Right.
system.
so,
That happens when they have a call for a fire, they pull up to it and they
Yeah.
attach,
we can't,
No, you can't go near it.
yeah.
A block
Can't
access.
Don't ask, don't tell, don't ask, don't tell. Don't bring it up to
Don't
me.
ask because you won't get told.
Have you seen those ladies who knit things that can knit?
That's right, that's, all right, we're gonna stop talking about money. Did we get? 10
10,000 for the,
for art and 10,000 for
yeah,
landscape.
10,000 for other art.
And that are be spent by a certain time? Is it a time?
Well,
They have to-
assuming we get the money,
Yeah, right.
then we'll spend it as fast as we can.
Right.
Yeah.
I do not have a treasurer's report because the, fiscal year has ended. And so we couldn't get to our, information because they're in the process of doing everything. So Lisa and I could not access our treasurer's report, but I'll have one next time.
Do we have any money?
I believe we got $4,000 for fiscal year 23-24. Yes, we just finished 22-23, and I believe, but I've been told, I didn't see it written anywhere on paper, that we received $4,000 again as our budget from the town for 23-24.
Aren't they generous?
That's plenty for our needs right now until we need more.
No kidding.
Anyway, going on to unfinished business, these really were NIPS project updates and then subheading fish culture and adopt the highway, which all come together under NIPS project updates. And I have not spoken with Clint since a month ago when we went to go visit. I sent him an email and I have not heard back. I copied John Burt, like, anything happening here? And I haven't driven by either. Has anybody driven by there?
Yeah,
Whatsoever, no change.
No, talking, see how they're,
Well, he said no matter what, he's gonna do it, and if the town of Groton doesn't buy it, certainly somebody else will, but he has other paying customers, so he's like, okay, so I'm gonna put this on the back burner because I was trying to get at least a 30% payment, which I haven't procured yet. You know,
I think his business is in the shipyards right now, and unfortunately, that's how he makes his living.
well, so if we can, if we can come up, if there was everything needed to fall in place, there was also the gentleman who's the Noank planner, Noank
zoning.
zoning, yes.
So,
And so I know that,
can I reach out? No,
Mark Ferry had spoken with him. And so something needed to be done, or he needed to consult with something. So I guess I need to reach out to Mark. And I did CC Mark on that, but once again, this is the week of the 4th of July, and I don't have no idea if anybody's out. Although usually that you get that return message, but because Mark is integrally involved, as is John Bird. So I seem to have stalled that they're getting off to a very good start. And a couple people had asked me questions about the actual sculpture. Did you ask me a question about, like, is there gonna, or just about, is there gonna be plastic?
Yeah, I
integrated
know,
into it?
I had looked at, something that the conservation group had,
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
really liked the sculpture. They said something to the town, council last year. And they had explained that it was gonna be full of plastic as a
Uh-huh.
learning tool that
Yeah.
shows. And so my question was, is it just gonna be a garbage can? Or is it gonna have plastics in it too? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
Around it?
the picture that was presented to
Right.
the town council isn't exactly what's being manufactured. So, and I believe in that one, it was kind of a plastic, you were collecting plastic, and this is not going to be just for that. So as far as I recall, it has a trash can in it. Although I do like the idea of something, we need to make sure that when people see it, that they understand that we're trying to keep the plastic from interacting with with creatures who live in the water. So,
So there's a possibility that we could put the bottles around the trash can, and they would be there permanently, and the trash can would be,
yeah,
empty, but
okay,
you would still have that visual.
yeah,
And that's what you're
Yeah.
asking about, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
correct?
Yeah, and maybe he could corner, take
Yeah,
part of it,
yeah.
corner it off in the garbage can itself, and then the
Yeah.
thin area or whatever, you could have that.
Yeah.
for-
Point of information.
You're not in that kind of meeting, just.
Well, no, I'm not part of this group, however, I see a need to. I was one of the ones that originally brought this idea about. I was roaming on the internet and I saw it, and it's from India. A
Oh,
sculptor,
what, yes, but the original
From-
sculpture?
yes. And I'm kind of bemused at this point that he may have a patent on this design. It's a receptacle for plastic bottles on the beaches. And they just put them there. You don't have to ring them with, you can put a little sign up showing a plastic bottle. But they have it so it opens up, they empty it out, and
Yeah.
they just he chose the design of a fish just because of where it was gonna be.
Great,
And
yeah,
that's the way it went.
yeah,
And then I may have mentioned it to Rachel Franco, and then she brought it to the council, and then it went on from there, et cetera, et cetera.
right. So that was the original kind of what we originally had shown to Clint, and then Clint went with it as an
Right.
artist, and it's a bit different. Would you be able to, would you ever go by there? Do you ever see him anymore?
Yeah.
Just, I think you guys have a good relationship, you just ask him, like, could something be incorporated so that we just want to make sure that we get the educational piece. He really loves what you had originally talked about. I think it's you about, the educational message is, this fish likes plastic, but those fish don't, so feed this one, not those ones.
You have to have it easily opened up, and then you have to talk, I guess. The conversation would be with Mark Berry to establish a program to
Yeah.
empty it out.
Yeah, we
Mark
already have that.
Berry.
Yeah, we've already done that.
Because it'll probably be done as the Point Beach,
Yes, exactly. Okay,
no? Where,
We had a talk about putting it up at the, where everybody walks.
Yeah.
right now, we're
Daily
talking to
Oh, no.
Mulvaney because, to see if it could go to Esther Point. And if it couldn't go to Esther Point.
got an
then
awful
we were
lot
gonna-
down there, as I think about, there's an awful lot down there right now. The volleyball and all that.
No, but in front of the,
There's a place.
there's a place.
There's
I went down there last night and I said, where do people go for sunbathing and swimming?
I'm sorry, but one of the meetings I was at, we had an extensive conversation about where we were gonna put it.
Mhm.
And we talked about the fact that there's a lot of activities going on down at the park.
Yeah.
And that we thought it would be an excellent area to put it, to
Yeah.
introduce it to the town, the
Right.
whole town.
In,
Want to ride?
well, no, it's, I believe that when I spoke with Clint, he talked about Esther Point Beach, and Rachel reminded me, Cindy, we never decided on a specific place. But when I spoke with Mark Berry, he was very enthusiastic, and Clint was very enthusiastic, and the fish, Clint Wright is an individual who's making
Oh,
the,
okay, thank you.
black, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's all right. I'll catch up.
And so,
We walked there, we walked the site, so we pretty much know where, we'd like to see it, but.
That's where they want to put it at.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
that's where the
That's-
town
that's
is like,
they want.
town, yeah,
That's the-
if the town says no, or no one says no, or something happens, then I told Mark, we have other places, we would like to look specifically
Mhm.
Boquonic Plains Park, and he said, that's great, in case this doesn't work out, but he was definitely, enthusiastic about putting it there, at Esther Point.
That makes sense, it's a fish, and it's water there, and they have a real litter problem down there, too, that was the other thing they were trying to cure with
Well,
that.
I mean, they've done a beautiful job, the Park and Rec does a beautiful job. I mean, you can walk down there, now, there was one time, after it was a post volleyball, and it was a stinking disaster.
It hasn't been.
And, yeah, but I got a photo from you, you sent me a photo, I sent it to Mark Berry, and it was, cleaned up. And it has, I'm glad, and Sharon walks down there almost every day, and so she keeps her eye out. And so I think we have a lot of leverage because it's a really beloved place to play volleyball. And so when they have their tournaments or their volleyball nights, I think they probably got the
The
message.
concert.
Yeah, and the concert, yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's what.
Who's filming tonight?
I don't know the name, it sounds like reggae or something. Good.
Pardon?
All right, so, we'll try to get an update and see how it's going. I am finding that working, the more cogs in the wheel, the slower the wheel seems to turn.
Have you approached the zoning in no link at all about?
Yes, absolutely. I have not, but Mark has had a meeting with him.
Uh-huh.
And he said, okay, now I have to do these different steps, but I think it's hard in the summertime. People just, things kind of seem to fall off the radar.
Sure.
So, Mark had, I believe, a good conversation with the gentleman, and then he had to figure out what the steps he needed to take to make sure that everybody, that it was going to be something that everyone in the town was going to want, getting them in the, some kind of specification. But I'm not sure. I'm staying out of that part. If I don't need to know it, then, and Mark Berry will take care of it, then this is let them.
You bet.
Anything else about fish culture? About the highway,
Okay, that's good, it's, together there.
segue?
Because it's a hybrid, I have a hybrid question. I, met with Sharon at one point, and then I met with Greg about the highway.
Yep.
The road. And we went over the list of roads we had,
Yep.
on this updated list, and realized that, two of them don't belong there.
Mhm.
The Wood one and, the boardwalk.
Uh-huh.
The one that were specifically marked for beautification
Uh-huh,
committee.
uh-huh.
So we, is are going to not be on the next updated list.
Uh-huh.
So why don't you pick another section, let me know. And, if you're interested in doing one, being responsible
Right.
for one, then pick a section, let me know.
So how
Do
come
we
not
have a
with
list?
one?
With one is the state,
State road.
yeah. You
Well,
pick-
I know, but that's one that really impacts us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a list?
Yes, we do have the list. I had, sent the list, but I guess, the one that's for, there's some very long, like River Road, Sanders Road. I don't think we want to touch roads. I still say yes.
Well, the Paquonic Walk, you mentioned that, that's a disaster.
Yeah, and he
Who
said,
takes care of that? It's not Parks and Rec.
well, that's the thing.
Isn't that the underneath it's a disaster though?
Yeah,
Because I
and I
was
walked that recently. You can't see much of anything because it's a lot of growth.
not- Mhm.
Vegetation growth, but in the empty spot, you can see the plenty of bottles and
Yeah.
cans.
You
So
walk-
it clearly needs to be addressed, but you can't do it, you can't walk there anymore. It's too dense right now, so it needs to be accessed from the water. So I said, well, what if, through the NIPS program, we were to find someone willing to, come with a watercraft of some kind, canoe, kayak, I don't know, and deal with that, even if we need to pay this person a little bit, maybe we can deal
Sure.
with that way. They said, well, that could be an option, but, he wanted to explore, see exactly who is going to take care of that on a regular basis.
Uh-huh.
So at this point, I think it's off the chart, after.
I think it's privately owned. I don't know if it was ever donated to the town.
The whole walkway that goes down.
It was built by the people that own the building next door. And I don't know if it was ever given to the town or not, but I'm kind of thinking by the care that it wasn't.
Well, I know that they recently put in some new boards.
They are working on the gazebo that at the end there, so the Park and Rec is doing that, so.
It must belong to the town because they're getting a grant of
And they
several
also
million
said that,
dollars
they're also
to take
said
care
that
of a
they
new
have
one.
that walkway,
They're gonna build
right?
a brand
They
new
have
one
a-
there.
In
They are?
the
Yeah.
same spot.
Aquatic, that whole walkway is gonna be a brand new one.
Oh, yeah?
So,
all the way down to, I believe the end of Depot Road, is that possible?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
activity green.
They're gonna replace that whole structure.
Well, it needs a little
So they
TLC.
must have it, they must either have an easement or they own it.
They also have to sign at the end saying,
Right.
Maybe she did, I don't know. I know it
But
was,
we can't do
I think
anything.
it was.
Well, I mean, he never mentioned that it was going to be replaced or anything like this to me, but
That's more of
if
the
it's,
workshop?
if such a thing is in the cards, I mean, clearly.
They could clean it up when they fix it.
yeah, right. Well, I mean, there's some
Yeah,
really nice
hopefully-
walks along these
Beautiful.
waterways.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
nice if it was a little big, a little more open, and maybe they could get, maybe some trash stuff. Hold on. I'm
Oh,
exactly.
So,
Well, yeah.
Who said that?
I'm saying that.
Oh.
Our head, yeah, yeah.
So Route 1, Route 12, 117, 215, we're not supposed to.
No, the one that are besides, River Road and Flanders, there are some, roads like Pleasant Valley Road, off Route 12. The one going north and the one coming south. There's two sections of Pleasant Valley Road up there.
184.
And things off of 184, the Industrial Drive and Depot Road is on the list. Buddington Road and Drossdick Drive.
Mhm.
Well, that's a lot.
So,
That's quite a bit.
Right.
yeah, so if we are interested and we want to pick something, I think we should do that. And, so I can let you know.
Is Crystal Lake Road on there?
There was Crystal Lake Road, I think, yes.
Because that would be a nice one to keep clean because of the fact that you have so many tourists coming in that road. It would be nice. to
Which
have-
one is Crystal Lake? I know what
Those
you know.
three. Right along.
Is that Nautilus Drive now, or Nautilus Road?
They gave it a,
Something.
Yeah,
they gave it a sub name,
yeah,
it's on the sign also, now, but it's still actually Crystal Lake Road.
that's fine. Sub-base New London and Groton. I've gone around with Joe Courtney over that several times.
But
Okay.
the question is, do we want to pick something that is in town, or do we want to pick something that is a little bit surrounding, town?
Whatever you, I just thought that from the tourist angle, you know, when people come in, would be nice to know that that road is always gonna look nice.
I don't care about
I think we ought to take one.
that.
I'd be in favor of doing something that work there.
You'd like Crystal? Okay.
Yeah, you have
Well,
to volunteer.
Well, do we need to, how many? Okay, so Crystal Lake is not a possibility. What's another one?
Crystal Lake,
How about River Road?
River Road is huge, it's a pretty long road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
you
couldn't
just
take
take
a
a piece. of it.
Oh, yeah,
Take
yeah,
the
we
whole
can
thing.
take a piece, yeah.
Think of it like from Mystic up to the bridge.
So I know.
The
Oh my
95
God.
bridge.
Is that,
long way.
That's
not
the
that
whole
long.
River Road.
no, it's not. No, it's not.
They turn around and go back.
Okay, the bridge to the,
Ah, yeah, now, but also, is it, I haven't been on River Road so long. Is there a mess there?
not
No,
terrible.
I was gonna say, doesn't it?
It's not bad, that's why I suggested.
Where they put in a kayak. Would be an easy one.
Yeah, it'd be,
From your walking around, do you have an idea, Sharon, or like?
You
I know you
I
do. I know you-
myself.
I
mean,
know.
I do Marsh Road.
oh, do you?
Yeah, Marsh Road, and then I come up and I do 215, and, you know, to my house, so, but you can't do 215.
Yeah,
That's a state road.
legally, right?
And
Not official.
Marsh Road, I mean, I do it.
Yeah.
I clean it up. There's no reason that a committee
Yeah.
needs to do it. Or, and I have friends that do it too, you know?
Okay.
So, I don't know. I just figured it's a shame we can't do Route 1 and 117.
Yeah.
I talked to the people at the state who run who take care of the 89 exit entrances and so
Yeah.
forth. And it's the kind, we can't get involved in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They charge a business
Yeah.
$300 a month to put the sign up, then they charge you $500 for the sign. But the state people are the ones that clean it up. They won't let anybody else on
Yeah.
there because of liability concerns.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why don't you do something about it? I said, it's a mess continually. Well, we try to do our best,
There's a lot of exits and entrances. I mean, I don't know either, but
There's two.
No.
There's only two. The one that's the problem is the one going south of New York.
Mhm.
That's the one that gets the
Near
real
the
mess.
Marriott.
Huh?
Near the Marriott.
No, exit 89 Mystic.
Oh.
Because all of the folks that want the Mystic experience, they eventually go home,
Yeah, but they don't
And they
want
throw
to go
their
there.
trash out the window as they get on the road going back to New York.
Well, I think we should call them more frequently. I think it does pay to bother it. And I think, maybe we will just call from the beautification committee. Can we do
Do
that?
you wanna send out the guy's name and phone number and say, hey,
Well, they have a website, actually.
oh, okay,
So
but
you can
state of
contact
Connecticut,
them.
okay.
You can
I don't
contact-
think it needs to be from the beautification committee. They're not gonna know who that is. I think it's way better to have this as a citizen
Yeah.
living in the town, and you go by it.
Something we have
And it's like,
control over.
yeah, but I mean, I specifically a taxing citizen of the state. I
So
think
it's part
it's,
of the DOT, right?
I don't know. I just agree. I think a committee
Thank you.
always has more. A little more
I
clout.
don't think
It
it's
really
the
does.
state. I don't think it's the state.
Well, let me
it's
try, please. Let me try.
Okay.
I'd love to do that.
The other thing you need to do is you need to talk to your reps.
State rep.
Chris Connor,
Tom Gardner.
the ones that are in this area. They put it on their shoulders, they're supposed to be taking care of it.
Good idea. Yeah, that's true. We should do that.
If we could maybe for the next meeting have a list of our representatives and their telephone numbers, and share it, and then everybody starts making some calls.
Would you like to do that?
Sure.
You could probably put it off of your phone right now, right?
Pretty much.
Just like a little, yeah, and then that's going. Or we can always email it.
Can you email it?
Yeah.
Email it.
No, you're not in the street.
Yeah, I was thinking if we want something with high traffic, what about Depot Road and Industrial, because that's the road to Brook Point.
Oh, that is,
Yeah,
how messy is it?
It's not bad either. That would be pretty easy to do too.
Right.
Nice wide road, a
And
lot of
easy to park,
visibility.
yeah. You can wear a green shirt.
Most of the trash comes from the people that live over there, I think, and travel on that path.
Well, I also think, I don't know that.
Hardly any tourists.
I know, but I'm seeing so much trash blowing off the trash trucks, and people put their trash out and they don't close it all the way, it flows out. I mean, I think there's a lot of unintentional trash.
The one that
People
goes-
that are driving, they take their
the-
coffee
goes
cups,
left
fling them
instead of
in
going
the back of the
forward.
truck and it doesn't make it. And
Yeah.
I see them,
Yeah,
Yeah, really?
they go like this and, one, whoop, over the other side. I mean, they're not purposely trying to.
Yeah.
I
I think there's a
different
lot of
things.
unintentional,
They are
yeah.
showing this. stuff
Yes, and I think that, okay, so that sounds like a
That
nice
sounds like
idea. Because
Yeah.
that's central.
Center of the
It's
town.
central and
On the
it's not
way to
too
Brook Point.
long, and,
It's
it's
flat.
certainly something that we can keep an eye on,
Mhm.
and. I mean, we can commit to doing that twice a year, no problem. And in between, if we see something going on, we can easily do
Let's do it.
on the spot.
Do we want to vote on it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
That's Industrial Drive and Depot Road.
Depot Road and Industrial.
Okay.
Okay, would you like to make a motion?
Motion to adopt a road, two roads actually, Depot and Industrial.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to adopt is it the Depot Road and Industrial Road? This is not longer than a mile altogether.
No.
Okay, all right.
It's reasonable.
Okay, for the adopt a road program for the town of Groton. Is there any discussion about that?
Now, they're gonna put a sign up saying that we're taking care of it?
Yeah, they will put a sign.
They'll put a sign up and it's for 2 years, right?
It's for 2 years.
And then if we want to
Never take
change.
them down, ever.
I know.
It'll
But
be
if
up
we,
forever.
but if we do that, and then we want to try a different place, We can.
Right.
We'll put it up and put it down again.
Should we pick a date to go with that? Would we want to do that once in the fall and once in the spring?
I would say so. I would think sometime in the fall would be delightful. I mean, like, not on a day like today, just saying, I don't want
That's
any
why
of my
I
committee
think
members to
summer.
fall over. Fall over.
October and
Okay, October and April. Okay,
All right,
and then,
wait, okay, wait, took the vote, but did we all vote? I didn't even count. Did we all say yes? All in favor?
Yep.
Yeah.
1, 2,
Yeah.
3, 4, 5.
And just an observer.
but
Right.
you can come with us to see.
Right. Excellent, thank you so much, Lee.
Okay.
And you wanna segue into your next
Yeah, the,
awesome thing? Yeah.
so,
You sure you hold that map the right way?
okay, I'll let you do that then.
That's right, let's get added.
And when I was talking with Sharon, we talked about bottles of this cleanup, and it comes up with bottles, and we ended up with snips. And the idea of nickel for nips came up. And so at first we said, maybe we can have a trial period of 3 months or 6 months and do that, but how do we do that? So I said, well, if we have a set time, like every Friday morning or every Saturday morning for 2 hours, we'll be in front of Big Y with our big bag, and people can come and give us their
Yeah.
big bottle and get, but that became a little bit not very fit. So I spoke with Mary Jo Riley at 555. And she said that they actually have a can and bottle recycling program. The people can bring their cans and bottles, they collect them, they recycle them, they get their 5 cents per, and they put the money towards a scholarship. And I asked her if she would consider doing the same thing with NET. She said, why not? So we need to figure out a modality to that will work for everybody. So people can bring their nets there at 555. But because they cannot be recycled, she said, how do we get anybody for scholarship out of
Right.
that?
Right.
So a nickel bottle. So I said, well, we can come up with maybe a little bit of money to contribute
Yeah.
for in exchange for you doing the work of collecting it.
Right.
So I don't know if even if they collect 100 bottles a week, which is probably more than they would in the beginning. And that's what, $5. So 4 weeks, that's $20. So let's say 6 months and $120. Can we come up with $120 to contribute to 555 towards the scholarship program in lieu of having to do the work of collecting?
Do people like collect their nips? I mean, I,
Oh, they do.
from what I see, it's all-
But if we advertise that it can be collected and brought.
You're a real optimist.
But so what I'm seeing, so people are bringing their recyclables to the Right 55, donating them, and then they recycle them and get them, like, so you could also, I understand, except for the fact that if somebody, it would encourage somebody to go and pick up nips and bring them back, because right now you've got people bringing their recyclables in to the senior center just to speak out of the goodness of their heart. Like, so maybe some of those same people, out of the goodness of their heart, brings in the nip bottle. And I don't see that it hurts.
I think kids would do it. I think if we could get kids involved, money talks.
But they don't get the money.
They don't get the money.
They don't
Why
get the money.
would
No.
Why wouldn't they get the money from us?
No.
No, they just the there is no way to redeem a nip bottle.
We don't redeem them. We are going to pay them for collecting.
But it's,
Because we
through this, but it's the senior center's doing all the work, so they
Right,
want the.
and the senior center wants this share.
Well, you know, good idea. If kids could put the nip bottle into a tube and it lit up and then they got a quarter. Right. Can you see all the nip bottles
Yeah.
going in there?
Exactly.
I think kids are the ones that are going to pick them up and bring them in for us to pay them. And I love Thrive 55's idea. But I mean, we could do a quick test with this, a little test with,
Well, the kids are gonna pick them up on the road, that's where they are.
yeah.
That's kind of dangerous.
Well, I just don't, I don't see how this,
All over
this community,
It's not-
I mean, this, committee is able
Okay.
to do that. I see if we could attach it to theirs and they get a small benefit of 5 cents, but then they'd have to count each and every one in order to.
No, I don't think they would. I think if we do, make a
Oh, we make a
contribution,
contribution.
they will just collect.
Okay.
And, if they have a lot, they have a lot. If they don't have a lot, then they get a lot of money for their little, their
Yeah,
few,
A little bit of
net.
work, a
Yeah.
little bit of job, a little
Yeah.
bit of, okay.
But I think that's, because I don't see how we can man, any collection point, on a regular basis to
Yeah.
do something like this.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, it wouldn't work. So if we can tag along with,
Yeah.
what they do there,
Yeah,
on a trial basis for
Yeah.
3 months or 6 months, I don't
Yeah.
know what we want to choose. But it has to be long enough so people can, get the idea, that's
Yeah.
what they.
yeah, it has to be, I would say at least.
Do you know if the people that bring their recyclables to Thrive 55, are they taking them off of the road, or are they bringing their own?
I
from their
think
house?
it's probably when most of them
From their
bring
house?
their
So they're not, litter collectors. or
Right.
whatever.
But I'm there on every Monday, so if I can maybe come a little bit, earlier and, see if I can talk to somebody who, if I can get the name of some people who bring them on a regular basis and talk to them and see, what they would think of the idea. The person who is in charge of that, program at 555 was Way, she came back today. But, I'm going to see if I can meet with her next week. But I wanted to know first if that's an idea that we need to pursue, or if it's just.
Anything to get rid of bottles.
I mean, I certainly, one thing, we don't know if it'll make any significant change or not, I don't see how it would hurt. And even if, we probably have to figure out, I'd have to check with the town to see if there's any issue with accessing, do we give them beautification funds, can we use NIP fund, it's not a lot of money, but still, they don't, I just have to be cautious about that.
So the next fund is on it to,
We
deal with
Yeah,
just that
absolutely.
issue.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But the red tape and all that kind of stuff,
Right,
would we have to have some type of write-up, or would we?
Oh, I think we need to have a formal type of
Yeah.
agreement with
Yeah.
555, so,
Okay.
yeah, sure, that's no, that we're not going to give money that we, just
Yeah.
because.
Yeah, yeah.
You do want to be careful probably too with children picking up alcohol bottles.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're not gonna specify for
Yeah.
children,
Well,
we're just gonna see if,
about,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
kids involved, and
Yeah.
I think that could be. very
Also, I hate to say it, but I don't think that kids care about a nipple anymore.
I think as a committee, as a beautification committee, I would like to see us attack this from the other end as well, at the state level, at legislative level, so that this changes. And we're not constantly thinking plastics. We've got to stop thinking plastics. And I mean, we have a voice, and we can just keep at it with our state reps, our legislature, to change this, even if it became, I don't know what it would become. I don't know how other states.
I'm sure there was
I think there's been a lot of talk about that.
You can talk about it on your show.
Would you like to draft a letter and we can clean it? Sure. Because making exactly that point, and maybe it goes to our state reps, maybe it goes to town council, like,
I mean, we can get all the conservation.
yeah.
Do it too, they can join us in this and make it an effort.
Because I think you're right, that the end game is, and many conservation, I actually think that may have been mentioned in the letter you were referring to earlier, that, you know, the end game here is, why are we selling this? Why are we selling this work? Why is there so much? And they told us, so to get the money, how many, they said it was like 637,000 nips had been sold in the town of Groton, and that they're not recyclable. So even if you're not throwing them away, say you're throwing them in your trash, you're still 637 bottles little in 6 months. Little,
Unbelievable.
I know, it
really is.
That's why they're sitting next to the cash register every.
Yeah.
package.
Yeah. Just in case you made it through the entire package store without getting something, you're like, well, I'll just get a little, kind of like a brownie for me. I'll just have a little brownie.
Throw it out the window before I get on the main line.
Right. So no one will see it.
Right.
No one will know I ate the brownie.
I asked
Sure,
the gal-
so you can't-
gal who runs the grape one, to buy a lot of wine. Yeah, we were checking out, her name is Fiona,
Mhm.
and I said, Fiona, I said, who buys all these things? He said, everybody buys them. So I thought it was just guys going out on a date, but they just wanted to get a hit before they get to their.
Little
Date,
liquid
but-
courage.
No,
Oh,
apparently,
it's pretty
apparently it's a lot. Yeah.
Fireball is the main ones.
Yeah.
It's
They're rolling that Jagermeister too. which is-
Antifreeze and cinnamon.
Okay.
Enjoy. To do it separate stuff. So,
Probably not used.
when I meet with this person, her name is Tommy, I think, next week. What's today's topic? We are interested, not interested,
I don't think.
maybe?
I don't think it'll fly either.
I don't think.
I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
I mean, if they can put it in their newsletter, and advertise it that way, I don't know how many seniors
See what
go
happens.
to Stripe 55 with their
Yeah.
nip bottle.
But I guess what I need, could have a little, know is pretty much would be our minimum contribution, and
Well,
say we
I
get 5 nip bottles, I mean, then we're taking a contribution basically to the
I don't think we can say.
scholarship fund.
Yeah.
No, we don't get to say, but they get to say, they might say, well, like, how much would you need to make it worth your while? And then for a 3-month trial, and we get nothing, and they get no nips in 3 months, then it's like, well, we made a contribution basically to their scholarship fund.
Right.
Because
So,
we have to give them the money, we have to commit to the money before we,
Do we have to commit to money? I mean,
Is
yeah.
this the 55 club that you're working with?
Right.
no,
Right,
it's not,
55.
it's not the 55.
No, I know where it is,
Yeah.
but they have a club.
Yeah, 55 plus.
Yeah,
club.
Oh.
It's
okay.
different than that.
right.
Oh.
So,
I was just thinking if you were talking to them, if you have
Right.
this kind of worked out, and if you were talking to them, they'll make it happen down there.
okay.
You know,
Mhm.
they're always looking for things to do and be involved in at the senior center. I think. it would
I was
be-
even thinking, you know, they have this art class there, maybe if they collect their bottles, can they transform those into artwork?
No, it's not.
Sure.
You never
It's not
know,
hard at all.
but I think it would be advantageous.
Right,
If you're,
to do both, to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
bring them together and,
okay.
they're younger, they have more energy than
Mhm.
the 55.
Oh, okay,
You know,
they're
they're not
55.
85.
The youngsters, man, they're just youngsters, they're starting out.
Yep.
So if they ask me, what kind of contribution do you think your group would be willing to come up with?
Do you have an idea how their scholars, like how successful they're?
I think they last year, she said, they gave $3,000. or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think that would be good.
yeah, so, I mean, but for us, this is, I think, yeah, that's a scale.
Yeah, that's,
But,
yeah, okay.
it's not a huge amount, but, you know, for bottles and cans, $3,000 isn't bad.
Oh, no, that's a lot of all. And also, it's, once again, that it's getting recycled rather than throwing in the waste stream or getting tossed away. Well, the number I would think is just like $150 or something for 3 months, is all, like a small amount. Do you think?
Oh, I think it's even maybe more than they would expect, no?
Well,
Because
there's no guarantee.
Do we have to have a number? I don't have.
Yeah.
They're probably going to want to know, or if
Make it
you're
worth their
talking
while.
about giving them $25 or
Well,
for.
but what is the work that they have to do? I'm just curious, other than advertising and having a receptacle.
They're having a receptacle, there's someone who is going
They don't have
to,
to count them or anything.
no, probably not,
No.
but someone who is going to take that to the garbage in the back
Mhm.
and, because it can be recycled.
Yeah, great.
So, I mean, it's not a lot of work, but they are going to be in charge of managing the thing
Yeah.
for 3 months or 6
Right.
months.
Why don't you ask them what they would, what they
Yeah.
would accept
Exactly.
for 3 months of experimenting with this? Because it really is going to be just an experiment.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, most of the senior center seniors that are there, don't come in with a knit box.
No,
But
but
you might be encouraging the wrong thing here.
We're looking for exploring the possibility. If people see them, I pick them up when I'm walking and I just throw them in my trash.
And Matthew was aware that there are some nip bottles around the ranch. And she said, I know that every time, after every weekend, we have to go and clean that up. So there are some activities there. that-
Sure.
So, and she said if you want to put a garbage can with some special, decoration or wording on it, to encourage people to deposit their bottle there, that would be fine with us too.
That's what I was just gonna get back to, the garbage cans that we talked about that were kind of like artistic.
Right.
And they placed in places like this and in the park and with perhaps nip.
Are we still doing
this
the garbage cans?
I think that it's on hold, but yeah, we still have the design for that. He's very interested in doing that. It won't get done until that big fish is done. That's the
Yeah.
first thing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those trash cans are.
I was over to Mr. G's today, and they've got a trash can right outside the door, it's probably about this high, and they painted it, it's beautiful.
Just
You should-
paint it?
You should take a look at it, Mr. G's,
In New
over in
London?
New London.
Oh, they have a whole bunch of,
Yeah.
Well, it's the first time I've seen one, and it was really outstanding.
I called the guy that put those together supposedly, Felix Ray. He's in their economic development committee. I called him, and I sent him an email and never heard back from him. Just last week I followed up on him. So I don't know if you know him. Do you know him? He's the guy that actually put that project together. At least that's what the paper said.
But back to the senior center, so that you have.
Well, I don't
All I wanted
I
to
don't
know
want
is-
to take away from what we've got
Oh, no,
going here.
I didn't realize that you even doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
You have to
I'd
almost
like
have
to
a
have an
list
idea of what
things
you're
we
thinking
talk
too, because.
$100 a month or $500 together. I mean, it could be phenomenally successful, it could be free
I'll send you a
bottles.
picture next time, right?
But
Okay.
I certainly think that
We could definitely easily.
it would be, I love using something that's already being implemented and if they could just implement it. I mean, the hard thing is we only did it for 3 months. By the time people maybe hear about it and start doing it, it might be.
Well, by the time, I think we're probably going to end up starting that in fall,
In
in
the fall.
September,
Yeah.
something like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Summertime started.
Yeah, not good.
So, anyway, so I'll talk a little bit more with them about that and, next month meeting and we'll report.
Okay.
Let's transpire.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So now we're gonna move on to, ARPA update. Town hall landscape comes first, but I don't have much to say about that, except that as I said in communications, I had heard from Kevin and he's trying to get an iron in the fire, and I'm hoping that we can actually get something in the ground between mid to late August. I mean, really mid-August would be the soonest probably to do any kind of landscape. So I will let you guys know if we hear. But the good thing about this is that once the town wheels get moving and get everything gets in place, Pete does it all. And then we're just gonna have to be doing a little watering, but we might not even have, well, a little
They have
watering, yeah.
activated the faucet
Uh-huh.
that's in the front of the building.
Okay, awesome. So that's, we just have, so hopefully we will have a definite, some kind of date in mind in August. And look out for it. Anyway, so I'm excited about that. And because Pete was super excited about it.
Yeah,
Positive.
he's a great
Really
guy.
positive.
He'll do twice as much as we pay him.
Yeah, he's delightful. Any other questions or comments on the town hall landscape? Not that I have that much knowledge. All right, woohoo! Sculpture walk murals. Mr.
Well,
McDermott.
I finally got together with Mark Perry,
Okay.
because we decided we're gonna use town property as opposed to private property,
Uh-huh.
so that we can get this thing resolved and get going on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we met and we spent some time together, and here's what we came up with. This is just a description, but you'll probably be able to recognize both. So they're doing a big deal down in Sutton Park.
Yeah.
Frost Architect is putting a plan together. They'll have it done sometime by the end of July.
This July.
Their
This month?
concept this July,
Okay.
right, this month. So Mark is going to advise when it's done. There's a big berm there right on that corner that they may take out.
Mhm.
So depending on what they end up doing architecturally, there's 2 or 3 spots there that we could use.
Uh-huh.
Put a concrete pad in there. So that's one. The second piece would be near the east side of the Quantic Plain Park sign. That's another, it's difficult to describe unless you actually are riding by it. But that's a good one. That's a good one, and very visible. Third one would be at the Cloud Chester entrance.
Okay.
Fourth one would be at the library. As you ride down 117 with the library on your right-hand side, they're gonna put a sail there from a submarine.
2 pieces of it.
Yeah, and just beyond that is a raised mound, which I never even knew was there until I actually walked the property with Mark. It'd be a perfect place. So it's very visible from 117. Number 5, last one, in front of the old Fitch Community Center. That's the old building. That's up by Town Hall, between the sign and the tree entrance, and looking towards Town Hall. I also talked to him about a graphic on the side of the bathrooms at the Quantic Plain Park. He thinks it's a great idea. We don't have any money for it at this point in time. If we do these 5 sculptures, we're figuring on having a call for artists, paying them $2,000 a piece for the 10,000. That'd be a 2-year lease. And Mark said he could take care of talking to Public Works about putting the concrete pads in.
I'm sorry,
For the
2 years.
sculptures.
Explain 2 years.
What you do is, for any given sculpture, you pay the artist, let's say $2,000. And part of that money is considered transportation to here. If we do a Connecticut art, probably a very small amount. It could be somebody out of state, who may well be. So that's part of it. The other part of it is just remuneration to the artist. But that's all it is. It's a lease, essentially.
But it's not something they can take back. I mean, it becomes our property.
No,
Oh,
it's theirs.
so they can take it
And well, that's the idea. You want to change it out every couple of years. That's the whole thought behind that. And you're expending a small amount of money, you're essentially renting. And we could buy them if everybody falls in love with something and the guy wants to sell it, put the price on it. And some of them do, then yeah, the town can buy it.
Kind of an artist's point of view, the whole plan is kind of like conceived by an artist, it sounds like, you know? Just thinking, you know, maybe you could extend it for 3 years or something. I don't see changing these things
Well,
like so quickly and then.
This
they're
is
not-
modeled after another
I
program.
know, I remember you
Yeah.
told me.
And that's what they do down there
Yeah,
in Florida. It's been very successful, so I'm just piggybacking on what somebody else has done well, and it's been successful, that's all. But yeah, we can change it
But
anyway.
there are some that don't change, right? That stay the same. Isn't there one here?
We have all permanent down where we are, but.
Is it
But
very
I-
many?
You know, I think switching now is a great idea, but what happens if after 2 years, all of a sudden the price to do this triples or something, and then you have this concrete pad stuck at the front of Sutton Park or something? What would it be cost for like a permanent sculpture? And maybe we don't
Well,
decide, but,
If you want to
You know?
use mine as an example.
yeah, perfect.
You know, when I built that thing, it was $15,000 as a sale price.
Okay.
Now, it'd probably be $50,000
So that's
because it would
what
be so expensive to make it to begin with,
Right. So
not
that's
just
what
for
it is.
profit that would go to the artist.
Yeah.
So these things are expensive.
no, I
I mean, you look
understand
at
that.
the mural done on the side of the building up in Norwich downtown,
Yeah.
$50,000. I mean, this stuff is not cheap. So this is a very inexpensive way to get your foot in the water. And if it's successful and people fall in love with it, you get some money from the town council.
Or some, even like you're talking about a business.
Or maybe
you
a
know,
grant, or,
somebody
you know, I
might-
mean, there's a
some
lot of
artists might even
possibilities.
donate. Wouldn't you think that maybe somebody could even donate, helping that, it's good marketing for them?
Would be,
Yeah.
I mean,
So
yeah.
I would
sure.
also allow that in the.
Oh, yeah, no, I have the contracts already drawn up. They're just copies of what's down there. But
Don't send them to the town attorney.
Yeah.
well, that's exactly what I have not done at this point in time, because I'm still waiting on the contract that we have for a mural, which never got finished, but John, Bert and I finished it together. And, you know, it went from like a 20-page document down to about 10 or 12 or something like that.
Have you seen the mural on the side of,
And then like
The beer place.
Yeah.
beautiful.
that's really neat.
It's getting a lot
I
of,
disagree with that.
well, it's getting a lot of positive press. Let's just. say
Well,
that.
yeah.
Where is it? Near the old roller rink that's been torn down. It's,
Outer.
the outer. what's it
Outer
called?
light.
Outer light brewing.
On Bridge Street, Groton. Like, if you're gonna be going to a TV, come down Bridge Street.
Okay.
You have to kind of look back a little bit from there, but I think it looks great.
A lot of people stop to get pictures taken.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess that's what the
Oh.
purpose of, that.
Hey, it says Groton.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Bigger hole.
Somebody said it was after an old postcard.
It might be.
So where are we at with this?
So I would say, is it possible to stagger a little bit, or somebody, 1 year for one, 2 years for this? Because if you come up with 5 to replace the same year and the price has tripled, it might be impossible to do. But if it's one sculpture per year, it may be more manageable.
Yeah, but you gotta get the walk started,
I'd
right?
rather, I'd rather do something that I know is successful, you know, and go that route instead of fooling around with this thing. I don't want to overthink it. You may be right, I don't know.
So what's the first step now? What do you?
First step is to actually get the contract,
Contract.
because you have to have a contract, town and the art. Got them done, they were just done by the legal department down there in the land. You know, whether they'll fly up here, I don't know, these guys are we'll try.
And
And then we do a call for artists. And actually construct the concrete pad. Yeah, really a pretty involved
I
process.
like the mural on the park.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I think that
Well,
was,
Mark would love to have that.
I
It's
would
a
love to,
spectacular
Yeah.
place to put one.
like a blank slate.
Yeah.
Or the mural on that pitch, that community
Community
center, I could use one in the front of it too. Shape like a stage or something, I would draw it in my mind and design.
Yeah, well, the thing about the mural, I was thinking about that, you know, we don't have the money for it. But if we could get some of that NIPS money for something that had to do with, you know, fixing plastic problems or some kind of a theme
Right.
that falls in line with what the whole program is about.
Right.
Can't think of quite what that would be for a side of a building, but I mean, we could maybe put out a call for artists and suggest that, have people come up with an idea. And
Yeah.
maybe we get some money, you know, it would be a substantial amount of money. It probably couldn't do something like that for less than $15,000. Unless you get somebody that would be willing to do it for less. But let's just say, my guess is that it would cost 15 grand to put a mural up there. But if we could get that idea across to some artists, they come up with that thought,
Right.
maybe we could get it from.
Yeah, we're really talking about trying to, like, even, but now it's reduce, reuse, recycle, and they were talking about, how do we get to reduce and reuse, you know, so we don't even have to get to recycle. You know, so culture.
With little holes and everybody put the nips in.
A mural of an octopus holding plastic bottles.
Oh, that's right.
I like it.
Drinking his nap.
But, you know, it would almost have to fit with parks too. So it's a little,
Yeah,
it's a little weird, but, you know, maybe somebody can come up with an idea that combines both of those thoughts. Because it's gotta fly from Mark Berry too,
Right.
it's not just us.
So have you been in touch with some artists as well?
I haven't been in touch with anybody yet, I haven't put out a call for artists yet. But I could do it tomorrow if everybody's agreed with something like that.
I think, again, the artist that did the Norwich mural would be very neat. So, anyway, good.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Are we into?
So we had to place,
All right.
You need to get on?
No.
But, thank you, Bruce, for your hard work. No, logos, T-shirt, and sign update.
The T-shirts have been ordered. They ordered the 20th. They said 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
So that's all set. When they come in, the money will go to probably Cindy when she passes them out.
Yeah.
So,
can't
Thank
wait.
you for your patience.
I called people that never knew who I was. You want me to order you a T-shirt or this much money? So that's done. The signs, I just got notification this afternoon. They are ready, so I guess we'll pick them up.
Oh,
So what are the signs now?
The signs for the garden
they have the
with the
same,
logo on it.
and they're green. Yeah, the big one, like the size of like,
Yeah.
For sale fund?
I haven't, no, they
Yeah.
just, yeah.
and then a little one,
Right,
just to go like in a pot.
So I think I have a picture.
And just a green background and the Groton Beautification.
Yeah, so I'll pick them up either tomorrow or early next
Okay.
week when I get to the
We'll
water.
we'll start putting them in.
That's the sign store in Waterford.
Yes, that's fine. Thank you for recommending that. They are great. They do a lot of work with the town. And the same thing with R&B. They do a lot of work with the town. So it was really kind of easy as far as getting the invoicing and stuff through to Lisa, and it really worked out well. I have a vector file for the logo.
Thank you.
I have a copy. You have a copy. I want to see if Lisa or the town keeps the file for backup and stuff somewhere, you know, that they keep the file. Well, I would hope
Well, that's
so.
just when you sent me the email, you said, here it is, so
Yep.
it's on my computer somewhere.
And it's on mine, but yeah, so I don't know if they have
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's, so that's what the sign looks like.
Beautiful,
Okay,
Nice.
thanks to everybody.
very creative.
It's creative and
It's all of us.
quick,
Mhm.
to read, easy to read as you're going by.
Yeah.
there was another one that was sent, I think Rachel saw the Stonington one, but if you're walking by it, it's fine, but there's a lot of verbiage, you know, and it's a kind of a green post, they don't stand out. I just want we're hoping that people see the T-shirt, see the sign, and they just, you know, kind of like the arches, McDonald's arches, or whatever. You know, you don't have to, a trademark, we're branded. Awesome, thank you so much.
So I ordered everybody the t-shirts that wanted them, I forgot to order one. So I have to go and try to order separate, but since we're all paying for our t-shirts anyway, I just told her I get. You know, it's like, then, you have 18, there's 19. Yeah. So that's a thoughtful person thinking of other people, and just, you know, and nothing being thoughtful.
Yeah. Oh, okay, it did, okay, you're not thoughtful.
No, not thinking.
All right, we're going on to new business, and I'll let you speak if you have
Well,
something.
I think,
Oh, Missy has something too?
I know, I was just listening for a while.
Okay.
oh, I saw you with your pictures. I
That's
thought
okay.
probably you got something you're thinking about. No, something I wanted to do, if it was all right. We have a wonderful committee, but when we get ready to do something, we need other people.
Mm-hmm,
And so I'd like to create a call-out list.
mm-hmm.
I've got about 6 people that have already said that they'd be happy to, if we were gonna do a street, or if we're gonna do anything, I'll call them, they'll come help. If you're gonna do a big planting, whatever you need, as long as we give them a little heads up, they'll come and work for you.
Now, we
Okay.
collected some names at
I
the,
do, and I have them with me.
yeah, so what was the event again? It was at the
It was
library.
at the library, the concert, it wasn't conservation, it was, the.
Thursday.
I'm sorry? Thursday? Yeah, it was a Earth Day,
We went to
Sustainability
that.
Day.
Half a dozen, 10 people. So we'll just, like you said, we'll get a list going, and that
Yeah.
way somebody can have it, or we can all have that list.
Well,
Give
that,
them a
that
call.
would be so helpful, because sometimes that people say that to me all the time. Well, how come we need more we need more volunteers, not just to get, having the volunteers, it's reaching out to the volunteers, because everything takes, it's another step.
Well, if we get our names and numbers and everything together
together.
in a list, what we could do is make it so,
You take the first 3, I'll take the second 3, or whatever.
Or there's an email thing, email train.
but if we have it, and then we want to do something,
Yeah.
because, I think it's just making it all your
Yes,
projects
yes,
easier.
yes, exactly. And when I also realized that we have to make sure that people write so that we can read it really easily. Like, it's not even your messy handwriting, it's sometimes I'm like, wait, is that an I or an L, or, you know, I
Can
mean,
you read their phone number? That's the most important thing, and then from there.
that's true, yeah. Anyway,
But if we could get the emails and say we're anticipating this project, just kind of keep it in mind, and then we'll make you aware of the dates as we know more, then they'll get it in their calendars. But,
here's my list. Do you like it? Would you like to get it started?
oh, that's lovely.
Thank you. That is funny. You must have read my mind. I really believe that's, you know, we have people who have decided they would volunteer, but then reaching out, and also sometimes it's a little bit last minute. We did a last minute thing the other day, and I sent Aline a message the night before, because I thought it was going to be a big group of people, because we were doing, which I'll talk about shortly, doing something with another group, and the other group people couldn't come. I just basically was sending to a link. I didn't want her to say later, why didn't you tell me? And she came, and thank God, she was like our third person.
I can get these types up tomorrow and email.
Anyway, so thank you. That's a really, really excellent idea. See on that one. I think that would really help.
I can't do any of that, but I have a great assistant.
I would like to talk about the work we did at Spicer Park. I don't know if anybody's seen that. But the person who's in charge of the Groton Pollinator Pathway Group, Kristen DeSante, lives near me, and we've been chatting about what we can do together. They're all about pollinators. So this is garden only. There's no art involved, but it's does go in with taking care of our earth and conservation and feeding and taking care of the creatures on our earth. So she and I got together, and actually what happened is I went over to meet Mark Berry over at the Spicer Park, and they had a beautiful little garden, and it was just so overgrown with mugwort and bittersweet. It
Where's
didn't even,
Spicer?
no, it's where the Park and Rec building is. CD Code. CD Code.
Spicer House.
Yeah, Spicer House,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm sorry, Spicer House, yeah, so that Spicer building, right, you wouldn't even know, you park,
Yeah.
and then you walk across, and there's this round, there's a grassy area in the middle, and right in the middle of that is this horrendously overgrown garden, all bittersweet coming out the top of the tree.
I was thinking Thomas Road.
Top of the, well, so I
It's a
walked,
big name though.
yeah, I walked in, and I chatted with Mark, and I'm like, so that's kind of a mess over there, and he said, we just don't have time to do it. So Kristen and I go over there to take a look at it, kind of like, remember the first time we met here, and we're like, this place is a hot mess, let's get our hands dirty. So we just were going over there to look, see what was in there, and we start pulling stuff out. And this is like less than a week before my daughter's wedding, and I suddenly think, oh, I hope but there wasn't. So we just started pulling stuff out, and there's beautiful weeping, I think it's a beech, or I always get the birch. Weeping birch with the white, nice big white trunk. There's a blue spruce, there's a cypress, little cypress, little small guy. And it was like, oh my gosh, we gotta come back. So I get the okay from Mark. He says his guys will support us with the mulch and cleaning up the mess. So we, the pollinator pathway group, and I was just partnering with them because they don't have any money because they have less people. Unfortunately, it was a day that most people were working. So I find out that morning that it's just myself and Kristen. So of course my husband gets dragged into it, and another lovely woman showed up, Laura showed up, and then Aline showed up, and we worked our butts off. I thought it was gonna be 2 hours. We were there for 4 hours. Aline finally had to leave. Laura had to leave. My poor husband, I think, was about to pass out because he hadn't brought any water because he thought we'd only be there for a couple hours. And it is absolutely phenomenal. And we went back the next day, and we planted a bunch of native plants, which attract bees and bugs and butterflies. And we went the next day and finished it up, and then they brought a huge pile of mulch, and they came and took away, Park and Rec maintenance came and took away all the messy, nasty stuff, and it looks fantastic. So anybody who's over there, like, you know, you're fairly close to there, go down there and just.
Well, I've
you know,
got my
you can't-
kayak over there.
Yeah, okay, so.
We'll see it probably tomorrow.
Should we do a before and after?
Oh, yes,
picture?
yes, we have lots of pictures, but the question is like, oh, I guess we gotta
If
get
you
that.
had this list, you could have just sent out an email.
Well, yeah, exactly, except for the fact that I didn't know until that morning that we only had two, you know, 3 people, I didn't.
I was also going to rain.
Yes, it was gonna rain, so we were kind of, well, you know, how a week ago, we kept saying it was gonna rain, it didn't, anyway. I'm hoping if that's another group, that would be nice if, once again, this is all about the gardening piece, they'll help out.
So is there a contact number or name that we can put on this list we're gonna call? We should collect all these names.
I would have to check with Kristen first to
Right.
see if, yeah, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people, but once again, you think you have a lot of people, but then it turns out to not be a good day, so.
Yeah.
So, that's why I didn't even tell Shirley, because I thought, I didn't even tell Missy, it's just like, well, we're gonna have so many people, and it's not that big of a spot, we don't need any more people. Wrong, but anyway, we got done, and it was lovely.
Are we gonna put a sign in the front?
Absolutely, we're probably gonna have like a pollinator pathway on one side and beautification on the other, you know? And anyway, all right, and then I put down here, we're gonna talk about the beautification board. Right, so I went, the beautification award, where did I put them first?
Behind it.
Use
Right.
mine if you want.
No, I wanted to show you guys a couple photos while I'm talking. So we talked about Dr. McKay's office, which I went by, and it looks like they, even since I went by, they fixed it up more.
Right, yeah, she always, she keeps
Oh, I didn't
working
know.
on it.
Well, now she hired
Yes,
So she,
Who's that?
Dr.
Dr. McKay.
McKay on, right near.
Long Hill Road, just by,
Walgreens.
the shack and,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The
Long
lady,
Week.
Dennis,
Yeah, and then I also noticed, since I was looking at that, did you notice McDonald's right there?
yes, they,
Blooming daisies.
yeah, they did,
So-
good job.
So, but I just, I don't know how to, we didn't really come up with a process. I mean, the barn was so obviously, that was the person we gave the award to, it was so obviously.
But we did have a
We
award.
had a form where you helped elect someone. We had a form. It's somewhere in our record. I could get another one. If you post somebody and then we just say, yes, we're gonna do it, and then we vote on it, and then they get an award.
It's a short form.
So, yeah.
We also, I know, you want a beautification committee, you may have suggested this too, is just sending out a postcard.
You could,
We can have a beautification committee postcard.
you could,
We got the logo already, so we're talking.
What was then we need the QR form, right?
why don't you reach out for suggestions from people? I mean, you could put it onto the Groton email, the Groton Facebook. Probably could get a free ad in the paper and ask people to nominate somebody that they think has really improved their property. There might be something out there we're not even looking at.
Right,
So would it be in Groton's town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but also then, it also is it private, like Will, the gentleman in front. I'm not that comfortable, I gotta tell you, giving individual people awards for their property. I mean,
Well, Stonington does that. So does
Yeah.
the garden club, the Mr. Garden Club, the private person and it's in front of a storefront and that, a haircut shop and they just really jazzed up the front. It was very nice.
yeah, but that's not a private property, though, right? It's a
Well,
business.
you ask the people, you know, you say you've been nominated, we think
Yeah.
it's an excellent nomination. Would you be upset if we let people know? If they say yes, okay, if they say no, no,
And
okay,
that-
move on
yeah.
to the next one.
All right, well, so who would like to do that?
I'm not clear on it. Are we talking about an award like we did, Will Straight Award? Or are we talking about a letter that acknowledges the fact that they
postcard now, right?
contributed? Well, I think a letter is nice with our letterhead and with our logo on it and everything, just to acknowledge to people that we see what you're doing and we think it's wonderful, and that's all. I don't think it has to be.
I like the
Award.
award. I like the award idea because they can be proud to put that up in their space, not more
That to me is for a business.
business. But if it's an individual, then you don't give them an award, give them a card.
Some type of acknowledgement. I don't know, I mean, I hate to pick individual homes.
Why don't we
over
come with
other homes.
ideas to the next meeting in
Okay.
August?
Yeah.
Come with ideas to the next meeting.
Okay.
As far as
I'll have
letter,
it
card,
paperwork.
whatever you feel.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, I'll have to look, I know I have the beautification award somewhere, but I don't know about the nomination. Okay.
I think it's kind of a shame because that man down on Broad Side drives, they cleaned up the whole side of that,
Yeah.
and he never got, any acknowledgement for it, which is a shame. I think he's passed now.
Yes, and that's like Ghosted property now, the Groton Open Space
Which part?
property. On Broadstick, that's
Yeah.
a Groton Open Space property now, so maybe he donated it.
I believe he sold that off. He's a watcher.
Oh, was he?
I know the
Yeah.
man. I
I
haven't
think
seen
they
him.
moved,
I think he moved out of town.
they moved out of.
Yeah, he retired from Pfizer and moved, that was his point of relaxation.
Yeah.
He built all that.
They must be starting a compound somewhere, so everything this week that was sold was watched.
Really?
They don't like taxes anymore.
I would have I don't know if this is a good thought or not, but I was just thinking of a lot of lawns that I see around town and some of the places I drift to, and I reflect on Groton Lawn Club, but they hire landscapers to create their look.
Yeah.
Are you gonna give an award for something like that, or do you feel it, that's their effort is to hire a landscaper?
Yeah, but I have a hard time when you have a person who's doing it, and then someone who hires somebody who has, is that just,
But it's my property, at least I'm doing something with I can't physically do what I'd like to see, so I'm gonna pay somebody to do it, but I'm improving my property.
That's
And
a
I
good
think
idea.
that's what we have to really
We have to focus on
focus on,
getting
people
rid of some of the blight.
They're putting some sort of effort into it, no matter if they do it or somebody else does.
That's fine doing anyway.
Well, we can talk, think about it, come back. to
Yeah,
that
yeah, so
after
that's,
ideas.
some of the marching orders are ideas at the next meeting for the beautification award.
That is.
All right, anything else? 8:01, I used to do it in an hour and now it's
Are
not
we,
happening.
are we picking up on a highway or something? Are we doing a street?
I thought, we picked up, we picked up,
Equal
the
road.
Depot and
Road and
Industrial.
Industrial, yeah. And, October and April.
How about the planters outside? They look pretty darn good, don't they?
Yeah, although,
Fertilizer.
Fertilizer, yeah, yeah.
who, they're noticed, they're
dry.
dry. Do you know if it's working, the stripping?
Or is it just because it's so hot? the last couple of days?
Yeah, that's good to say.
My own little piece of dirt, what I have set out is, I've been watering
Yeah.
3 and 4 times a day.
Yeah.
I have a friend that's a horticulturist who graduated from Berkeley in Yukon. And he told me, go out in your yard away from your plants and dig down with a shovel a foot and see what's down at the bottom. If it's dry, then the watering we've gotten from the rain and whatever we're doing is not sinking down. It's so dry and hard packed that you've really got to put the water to it and just wait.
I'm very sorry, I didn't actually do that. I'm sorry, Roscoe. I need to adjourn the meeting if it's all right, but we need to vote, okay,
Second.
okay. I'm gonna do a leave of Brooks again.
Doesn't matter.
And so we all, who would like to adjourn?
We all do.
Aye.
We don't do it.
Okay. Awesome. All right.
8:03.
Yeah.
Everybody take a stand, please.
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.